Ted, what's all this?
Oh, just some of my favorite magic items.
How do you know they're magic? Oh, okay. Let's just talk about the top 5 magic items for the exploration pillar of Dungeons and Dragons. Then. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and as usual, I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
If you want the magic of D&D videos to flow to your inbox, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And don't forget to attune to that notification bell so you don't miss a single video.
So we're going to be talking about our 5 top magic items for the exploration pillar of Dungeons and Dragons. For that, it's just much easier for us to bring them up on D&D Beyond to discuss them. So at this point, we might as well let you know this is a sponsored video by D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond makes making these videos easier, researching information for Dungeons & Dragons, whether it's for videos or for running our games. And not to mention that there's a ton of free information over there.
Making characters is a absolute ease over there. Just a couple buttons. Before I know it was always an issue of, okay, well, what levels up? Where do I have to make these adjustments? Now you just click a button and boom, it levels up. It tells you what choices you have to make. It's super easy. But if you want to homebrew and make your own stuff, you can put it all in there. There's a whole great section for it. I can't speak more highly of D&D Beyond.
All right, so we're going to go with our list from from the least powerful to most powerful. And you know what? There are so many magic items. I know we missed some that you guys are going to be like, why did you not pick this or that?
So if you feel we missed something, go ahead and throw that down in the comments below so that we know what your top magic item is for the exploration pillar.
So exploration, basically that is anything that helps you interact with the environment, discover things. It could even be solving riddles and puzzles as well. So with that, our first pick, I went with Helm of Underwater action. While wearing the brass helmet, you can breathe underwater. You gain dark vision with a range of 60 feet, and you gain a swim speed of 30 feet. It is an uncommon wondrous item that requires attunement. And the reason why I picked this is, obviously, it is great for underwater adventuring. You have a swim speed, so that negates all the bad stuff that comes with being underwater. You also can breathe underwater, very useful for not drowning. But it also grants you dark vision. And if you're a race that doesn't already have dark vision, this is going to be useful anywhere that you don't have a light source. So I thought it was a great pick.
Yeah, it's really great. There's a lot of things that you've already pointed out, and I'm certain that there are some awesome stories out there with the use of that particular item. On my list, I've got the Rod of Alertness. This rod has a flanged head and the following properties. Alertness. While holding the rod, you have advantage on wisdom perception checks on all rolls for initiative. So you're really out there first. While holding the rod, you can use an action to cast one of the following spells from it. Detect evil and good, detect magic, detect poison and disease, or see invisibility. Doesn't have any stipulations, so it looks like you can cast these, to your heart's content. Protective aura. As an action, you can plant the haft end of the rod in the ground, whereupon the rod's head sheds bright light in a 60-foot radius and dim light for an additional 60 feet. While in that bright light, you and any creature that is friendly to you gain a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws and can sense the location of any invisible hostile creature that is also in the bright light. The rod's head stops glowing and the effect ends after 10 minutes, or when a creature uses its action to pull the rod from the ground. This property can't be used until the next dawn. There are so many things in here that speak to the exploration pillar. It's kind of ridiculous. Number one, leaving the combat stuff aside, bright light in a 60-foot radius and dim light for an additional 60 feet. That's going to shed, a lot of light into an area, allowing you to be able to see so much more.
I kind of envision that a little bit like, oh, you've gone into a tomb and you want to explore and search everything in this area. You plant that. One, it's defensive. It's going to help you if combat does arise, if that sarcophagus isn't really just a sarcophagus. But two, you have all the light that's going to help you be able to search the nooks and crannies and see if there's maybe any hidden loot or treasure in there or riddles to solve.
But detecting evil and good, detecting magic, detection, poison, and disease, and see invisibility, that you're basically casting these spells at will while you're holding this rod. Wow, that's pretty potent. That covers so many different aspects. I could see this as, going to the person who is like super paranoid, be like, oh my God, is there somebody invisible around me? Let me check. Is there something invisible around me? Let me check.
And like you built the perception character. Well, imagine if your perception character also had this, a +5 to your perception checks.
Now, it is a very rare item. It requires attunement. And other than that, +1 to AC and saving throws that it would give you when it's planted, it's not a very combat-heavy item, but it's useful for the entire party when you actually do that. So I think for all of that, this thing just totally stands out.
So next up, we have a magic item that is a legendary that requires attunement. It is the Rod of Lordly Might. At first, the other guys are you kidding me? Really? Isn't that just a big weapon? But hear me out, right? One, it's a +3 mace to hit and damage. Not bad. Nothing to do with exploration. It's got 6 buttons on it, right? So the first button, when you hit it, activates a flame tongue. Basically turns it into a sword. It's a flame tongue. Any kind of sword you want. Short sword, great sword, whatever you need. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, but you could also use that as a torch. You could use that to light your campfire. If you need to burn away webs or brush, you could use it for that. Next up, we have button 2. It turns it into a battle axe. Well, you know what? It's a +3 battle axe. You could use it to chop wood if you need to bring down trees. I feel like you're going to make Trent's unhappy, but I feel like this has a lot of versatility because of that.
You're using the +3 battle axe to chop wood.
Hey man, the blade will never dull ever.
It's a flame tongue. No. This is just a torch. And this mode, this is my woodcutting weapon. Come on, man.
Button number 3, we can turn it into a spear. So if you need to hunt food for the party, you're perfectly equipped to do that. You might have better methods.
+2, +3 spear.
+3 spear.
+3 spear.
It's always a +3 weapon.
All right, so I need to bring down the deer, the expert hunter. Do we call the ranger who's got the bow and arrow to fire from 160 feet away? Nah, let's give it to the fighter who's got that magic sword that turns into a spear.
So we also have button number 4. Now we're getting into more hardcore, like this is exploration. The rod transforms into a climbing pole up to 50 foot long, as you specify in surfaces as hard as granite, a spike at the bottom, and 3 hooks at the top anchor the pole. Horizontal bars 3 inches long fold out from the sides, 1 foot apart, forming a ladder. The pole can bear up to 4,000 pounds. More weight or lack of solid anchoring causes the rod to revert back to a normal form. I feel like a DM might also let you use this to wedge or use it in other ways as well, as long as you don't hit that weight threshold. I mean, I certainly would as a GM. So, that's definitely for the exploration pillar, getting over hazards or whatever. I mean, granted, it's also a legendary item, so by the time you have this, you could probably just teleport or something. Button number 5. The rod transforms into a handheld battering ram that grants a +10 bonus on strength checks made to break through doors and barricades and other barriers. So essentially, like, all this stuff gives you some great exploration things for the fighter to do, instead of the wizard using their spells or whatever.
We jest about these other things, but honestly, there is some stuff that can be done. And if you do extrapolate, you can go a little bit further. If you're in an Arctic climb, having the flame tongue out, super helpful. If you are, hunting, having access to that spear, while kind of ridiculous to use a +3 weapon to go hunt a deer, if you happen to be in an area that, food source is limited, you need every little scrap of meat that you're going to be able to get. And, that will make it happen.
Also, we have another button still. And this is the rod assumes or remains in its normal form and indicates magnetic north. So that's very exploration. Now we have a couple other abilities. You have Life Drain. Once a day, you can make a melee attack using the rod, and you can force the target to make a DC 17 Constitution saving throw. On a failure, the target takes an extra 4d6 necrotic damage, and you regain a number of hit points equal to half the necrotic damage. This is a once a day ability. Pretty cool. Paralyzed, like what better way to hunt than you just paralyze the deer? When you hit the creature with a melee attack using the rod, you can force the target to make a DC 17 strength saving throw. On a failure, the target is paralyzed for 1 minute. The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success. The property can't be used again until the next dawn. And Terrify. While holding the rod, you can use an action to force each creature you can see within 30 feet of you to make a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw. On a failure, the target is frightened of you for 1 minute. A frightened creature repeats its saving throw. You can do it again at the next dawn. So as you can see, we have a lot of options.
You do have a lot of options. So, all right, I'm going to move on to our last two. So the Carpet of Flying, wondrous item, very rare, so it doesn't even require attunement. You can speak the carpet's command word as an action to make the carpet hover and fly. It moves according to your spoken directions, provided that you are within 30 feet of it. 4 sizes of carpet exist. The DM chooses a size of a given carpet or determines it randomly. You've got a size of 3 foot by 5 foot, weight 200 pounds, flying speed of 80, a 4 foot by 6 foot, 400 pound capacity, and a fly speed of 60. A 5 foot by 7 foot, capacity 600 pounds and a fly speed of 40, or 6 foot by 9 foot, capacity 800 pounds, speed of 30 feet. A carpet can carry up to twice the weight shown on the table, but it flies at half speed if it is carrying more than its normal capacity. So this is all about movement utility. For this one, it's kind of an item that allows you to kind of avoid hazards and avoid issues more than actually adding to.
We joked a little bit. It might be the anti-exploration.
But there's a lot of things that are out there that this helps with, and the exploration pillar sometimes is hazards and problems and things. So this helps you navigate through any of that. Now, the next one that we're going to get into is a legendary item. Doesn't require attunement, which I love seeing those two things, not together. Apparatus of Kwalish. This thing is amazing. We technically have it in your game, although it's been with the Gobelos.
And they just refuse to use it.
And they refuse to use it, so it's kind of like sad. It's like, this thing is amazing. I've wanted to use it for so long, and yet haven't.
I don't even think the rest of the group knows they have it.
Well, and, rightly so. This item appears to be a large sealed iron barrel weighing 500 pounds. The barrel has a hidden catch which can be found with a successful DC 20 intelligence investigation check. Releasing the catch unlocks a hatch at one end of the barrel, allowing 2 medium or smaller creatures to crawl inside. 10 levers are set in a row at the far end, each in a neutral position, able to move either up or down. When certain levers are used, the apparatus transforms to resemble a giant lobster. The Apparatus of Kwalish is a large object with the following stats: AC 20, 200 hit points, speed of 30, swim speed of 30, or 0 if both legs and tail aren't extended. It's immune to poison and psychic damage. To be used as a vehicle, the apparatus requires 1 pilot. While the apparatus hatch is closed, the compartment is airtight and watertight. The compartment holds enough air for 10 hours of breathing, divided by the number of breathing creatures inside. The apparatus floats on water. It can also go underwater to a depth of 900 feet. Below that, the vehicle takes 2d6 bludgeoning damage per minute from pressure. A creature in the compartment can use an action to move as many as 2 of the apparatus levers up or down. After each use, a lever goes back to its neutral position. Each lever from left to right functions as shown in the Apparatus of the Kwalish levers. So this definitely has a lot of combat options, but like the Helm of Underwater, this is really great for exploring areas or getting to areas that you might not be able to do. Unless you're planning to get in this thing and walk it, it's 30 feet, really forcing it every 6 seconds by pushing it forward over and over again. It's going to move pretty slow, and carrying a 500-pound barrel is pretty ridiculous.
Well, it's no slower than walking, though. And you can literally dash if you choose your 2 levers or both to make it walk. But remember, we can put 2 people in there. One person could literally just be doing the movement, and the other person could be doing other things.
That's true.
Or both of you could literally do movement, the way this is worded. So you could actually move fairly fast. I guess you could get the rest of the party to ride on top.
I mean, as big a barrel it is, like you could definitely have two people riding on top if you were above ground. So it's be a pretty comical interaction to see this giant metal lobster, walking around with two people riding on top.
The paladin's like, it's my steed. Or a cavalier, it's my steed. So yeah, it has a lot of exploration applications, especially if you're going underwater, but you could also basically drive it like a tank or a mech. Oddly enough, the way the combat abilities are worded, there is a ton of actual class features that you could use through it, like smite. So your paladin could be inside operating and smiting with the claws.
Smite. So yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how far these things can go. I think it's an amazing item. It's legendary, so it's not going to be showing up in games all that often, but it can be a mount. It can allow you to get, down for underwater exploration. Imagine having the underwater action helmet and the apparatus of Kwalish, so the party is going down to explore this, whole cool thing. Maybe somebody else in the party is, a race that has a swim speed and water breathing. You could have this cool adventure with these things going on. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like these items. Let us know, did we miss anything? What are your favorite items to use for the exploration pillar? We got a place where we can talk about that in the comments.
You want another magic item video that we talk about? Check out the Rogue's Guide to Magic Items right here.
Do you want more magic items for your 5e game? We've been known to create 5th edition content over on our Patreon for DMs and players alike.
We also do weekly hangouts with our patrons. The patrons automatically get entered into our monthly giveaway and more.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.